Alright, decided to do something a little bit different today. Something that a few of the channels I watch do, and that's talk about all the games they beat in, a month, quarter, or in my case, half a year. And there will be a lot of shout outs throughout the video, and if you hear me say a YouTuber's name, there will be a link down below in the description, so you can go check out their channels there. So I'm going to cover the first half of the year. I've beaten 20 games so far, and we'll start off with the digital ROMs and all that stuff. Excuse me. First game I beat was Ys Book 1 on the Nintendo Wii Virtual Console, and that one I had, we got the Wii last year, I think March in 2013, and the first game I downloaded for it was Castlevania Rondo of Blood, and then shortly after that, Ys. And for whatever reason, I just never got around to playing it until, this year. And what a fantastic game. It's an action RPG with really interesting battle mechanics. You kind of just bump into enemies, and it seems really stupid at first, but it works really well. It's relatively short. It's about 10 hours or so. Got really great art style. I love the way they do the cutscenes with the really simple animation over the in-game graphics. And then it has some excellent voice acting and really fantastic music. Crazy guitar solos and everything. So really looking forward to playing Book 2 and, progressing throughout the series. Next game is, I rehacked my PSP for the third time now. And of course, first emulator I downloaded it for it was the TurboGrafx one. I think it might be Hugo. I don't know. But the game that was preloaded on that was Soldier Blade. And I believe it's part of the whole Star Soldier, Super Star Soldier, Final Soldier series. And it's just a really excellent, vertical shooter, or shmup. And one thing I love, well, at least with the ones that I've played on the TurboGrafx, is that they're all very challenging, but they're not impossible. There's a nice learning curve. They all start off relatively easy, but then they get very challenging towards the end, but they never seem impossible. And, this one was another fantastic shoot-'em-up on the TurboGrafx. Next one's on, where are you? 3DS here. First one was 3D Galaxy Force 2. I've actually done a review on it. I know the footage isn't the greatest. My camera, for whatever reason, didn't want to cooperate. But I originally saw the game about a year ago on SteveBenway's channel. He was playing the Sega Ages version of Galaxy Force 2, which is a Japan-only game, I believe. And it looks like a really interesting game, kind of like Space Harrier. Really nice graphics, really simple but addictive gameplay. And then right around Christmas time, he did a video for 3D Galaxy Force 2 on the 3DS. And he talked about how the 3D really adds a little something extra to the game, and turns it into something great. What I didn't know at the time was that it was a download-only game, so when I got my 3DS, I was kind of searching around the stores for it, and I couldn't find it anywhere. And then, of course, I went online, and I'm like, oh, it's a digital game. So, I got a $35 gift card, because that was the cheapest one I could find, and then bought that game right away. And really fantastic. Like I said, it's really simple, but it's really fun. If you like Space Harrier or... the name escapes me right now. Actually, I think it's kind of a spin-off of Space Harrier. Don't quote me on that, though. But yeah, I had a lot of fun with it. It was actually an arcade game way back in 1988, and it had a really interesting cabinet that you sit in it and it rocks around and stuff. I never got a chance to play it, but if I ever see one anywhere, I'm going to, I'm definitely going to play that one. And then, I had a bunch of money left over on the gift card, so I went on the HappyConsoleGamer group on Facebook and said, hey, what are some other good 3DS games I can get that are digital only? And, I got a lot of responses. I ended up getting Liberation Maiden, which I haven't even started yet. And then somebody recommended this platformer called Gunman Clive. And, really interesting game. And I'm not a fan of the Old West at all, and this is gonna sound kind of stupid. Just the whole tan and brown color scheme, it just bores me. So I tend not to watch Old West movies or play Old West games or anything like that. But yeah, it was a really fun game. Really simple graphical style. Everything's pretty much tan, and then there's some brown for the characters and platforms and enemies and stuff. But it works really well. It's got some great music, fits perfectly with the game. In a way, it's kind of similar to Mega Man, not as good, but same mechanics because you are in the Old West, so you do have a gun that you can fire at enemies, and really enjoyed it. And that will do it for ROMs, digital games, and all that. Moving on to the physical stuff. First game I beat in the year was Lego Harry Potter Years 1 through 4. Probably the weakest game in the series I've played. Played about 5 of them now. There's a couple things that annoyed me about it. It does have the classic Lego gameplay style, which is really fun. But when you're going through the story mode, every time you get done with a certain section of the story, you have to walk through Hogwarts to the next objective. And you'll be walking back and forth through these areas over and over again. And then sometimes you have to walk over here, do something really simple, and then walk over here, do something else, and then walk back over here to get to the next actual level. So I didn't really like that. And the magic system, I thought it was a little clunky, a little annoying. I prefer it when the games are a bit more simple. So not one I'll be replaying. Next one I beat was Sonic Rush on the DS. I really enjoyed this one. I love how the game, spans the 2 screens. And, forgot that character's name. I didn't play as her, I played as Sonic, but you can play as both characters. Not as good as, the classic Genesis Sonics 1 through 3. But it was still a very enjoyable game. It had some really interesting boss fights because the graphics were all 3D. But the whole game was side-scrolling until you get to the boss fights, and then there'd be some that are on circular platforms. Sometimes the camera would kind of spin around, and you'd have to jump over things coming at you. So it was very interesting. It's not amazing as far as Sonic games go, but it's definitely one that I would recommend if you like, the classic 2D Sonic games. Next one I beat on the Sega Genesis was Street Fighter II Special Champion Edition. I am not a colossal Street Fighter fanboy. Actually, I really didn't start playing it until last year. I played the Super Nintendo version a long time ago. But the thing that always kind of kept me away from the games was the art style and the character designs. I'm just not into them that much. The fighting is fantastic. It controls really well. And, this game's the same. It controls really well. Really fluid combat. Again, I'm not really a fan of the character designs on here. But, yeah, I enjoyed it quite a bit. And, one thing about the Street Fighter games is, about fighting games in general, is back then I always preferred, the visual style of Mortal Kombat, but I preferred the fighting style of Street Fighter 2. So in a perfect world, those games would combine and create a really cool fighting game. Next one I beat was Mario Kart 7 on the good old 3DS, and this one was a lot of fun. I think there's 32 tracks in here or something. There are a lot of tracks, and it's cool because it tells you, when you go to the tracks, it tells you exactly what game it's from and everything. Really like the new tracks they did for this one. Luigi's Mansions, I don't know if that's a new one, but it's one of my favorite tracks in there. And then it has a lot of the classic ones from Super Nintendo and N64 and all that. And the online, I really love the online on this one. It takes a minute or two to actually get into a race, but once you do, it's really fun. The only drawback to this, and I think it might be true with all Mario Kart games, is, I don't know, it just seems to run a little slow. Not the frame rate or anything, but I don't know, it just seems like you're kind of leisurely driving around. I wish it was a little faster, but yeah, great game. Next one I beat was Stormwind. SoftOtaku did a video on this one about a year ago, I think, and it blew me away with its graphics. I couldn't believe that was a Dreamcast game. And so I ended up getting it in February of this year. I got it on February 28th, actually, and then I beat it on March 1st. So that's how much I love the game. And what I love about it, besides obviously the graphics, is it's got some fantastic music. Excuse me. Fantastic music. Also, I really love the gameplay style where you use the shoulder buttons to switch weapons. You can also fire behind you by hitting the left shoulder button, and it's really, really accessible for shoot 'em up beginners. But then you can always crank the difficulty up if you find it too easy. And it has 16 levels. The bosses just look amazing, and everything looks amazing in this game. But yeah, I love this game a lot. And fun fact about me that no one cares about, but I'm actually ranked number 50 for high scores on this game on the official website, so that's cool.